Have you ever noticed how the people who shout the loudest about human freedom, they're always the first to try and decide who counts as a real human? This is the Nomadistan People's News, and today we are sharing a chilling and important editorial about how paramilitary and egoists are trying to stop the world from spinning. Take the latest from the Empire of Exception, otherwise known as the United States. President Donald Trump, yes, the one who once tried to buy Greenland and threatened to nuke a hurricane, has declared the next American target, American babies. Specifically, babies born on U.S. soil to undocumented parents. He wants to cancel their citizenship. Just sign it away like a gym membership or a parking ticket. Something we in Nomadistan are struggling to understand. Now, this might sound illegal, and that's because it is. The 14th Amendment says that anyone born on American soil is a citizen. It was written in 1868 after the American Civil War to stop southern states from denying citizenship to newly freed Black Americans. But apparently that whole Civil War thing needs a reboot because now Trump says he can undo it all with an executive order and a pen. No Congress, no process, just poof. Your baby doesn't count unless their parents pass the color wheel check. Of course, legal scholars, including conservative ones, have called this nonsense because the Supreme Court settled this more than a century ago. But in the United States these days, the law is mostly decorative, like doilies or the First Amendment in Florida. You see, this isn't about legality, it's about fear. Birthright citizenship is the new boogeyman. Not because it's broken, but because it's symbolic. And that terrifies some people more than a functioning public transit system. So now, once again, a fear takes the wheel, and guess who's riding shotgun? ICE. Over here in glorious, peaceful Nomadistan, we have many words for ICE, but most of them aren't printable. ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, was supposed to protect the borders. What it's become is a federally funded performance mafia specializing in door kicking and toddler deportation. They've detained American citizens, real ones, over 1,500 of them, according to the Los Angeles Times. That's not enforcement, that's institutional paranoia with a badge. Meanwhile, the Border Patrol is running military hardware in the desert. Surveillance balloons, biometric scanners, and drones, all pointed at exhausted families crossing sand barefoot, clutching toddlers and hope. And just when you think it couldn't get any more dystopian, Texas once added saw blades to the Rio Grande. Floating ones. We watched that one from Nomadistan with our mouths filled with astonishment because even our satire department couldn't top it. What this all looks like from the outside isn't a country securing itself, it's a country slowly becoming a parody of itself. Not immigration enforcement, but cruelty theater. Not national security, but a stage production called Look How Tough We Are. The raids, the fear, the camps, they're not deterrents, they're messages. To the world, to their own citizens, and to anyone who thought justice was still a thing you could expect from the government. Now in Nomadistan, we have our own system, no biometrics, just a simple entry form with 2 questions. Are you kind? Can you live peacefully with others? Answer yes to either and you're in. We even throw you a welcome party and assign you a goat. Our policy is called integration. But elsewhere, fear is the dominant language. Politicians speak it fluently. They manufacture panic, inflate it through the media, then present themselves as the only possible solution. The invading caravan, the anchor baby, the asylum flood. Pick your monster. And it sadly works. Elections are won, but doors are locked and the world gets colder. Meanwhile, global finance moves freely. Data flows instantly, and corporations pay no taxes and owe no borders. But Maria from Guatemala, she needs a sponsor, a tracking bracelet, and 3 lawyers just to pick blueberries in Delaware. That's the hypocrisy. We have collectively built a world where everything can move freely, except people. And now, the climate's changing. Economies are shifting. Wars fought and disasters are displacing millions. This isn't a maybe, it's happening, and the doors are still slamming shut. So we ask again, from our warm, silly little corner of the world, what kind of civilization fears a child? What kind of nation needs saw blades to guard a river? And when did paperwork become more valuable than people. Here in Nomadistan, we've decided to lead with generosity. We don't get it right all the time, but we do know this. When a stranger arrives at your door, their story is not a threat. It's an invitation. And how you answer that invitation says everything about the kind of world you're building. Because in the end, we all belong to someone else's migration story. Even you. I am Mirov, and this has been the Nomadistan People's News. So, I just got finished editing everything that you just saw before you, and this one was a hard one. This was a very hard video to make. I just kept wanting to stop in the middle of every 3 seconds and just scream at the camera, what in the are you thinking? When I created Nomadistan, and specifically the Nomadistan People's News, it was to try to get a message across of maybe there's room in the middle, maybe there's room for all of us at the table to discuss things. But certain subjects, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. Look, I get when you have a large group of people with a leader at the top of it, in order to feed the faithful and control the masses, you got to have a common boogeyman. You got to have a common enemy. It's just the way things work. But why do you have to pick the most vulnerable? Okay, I get it. You're bullies. It's easy to pick on the ones who can't defend themselves. Every single high school show out of Hollywood has just that guy. But the problem is, in Hollywood movies, that guy always gets his comeuppance. And in real life, the bullies don't seem to. Look, I don't care who you voted for. I don't care what side of the political aisle you're on. It's very simple. The folks who are coming from elsewhere to this country, they're not coming here going, ooh, I can go rob a bank, I can take jobs, I can do, they're not doing that. The stuff they're fleeing. Well, here, let me tell you a little story. When we were living in Yuma, out in the desert, I used to do a lot of walkabouts, and that's no joke. That place is harsh. The lack of everything, like the ability to live, the water, there's no water. People will spend hundreds and hundreds of miles just combing across that with their families, with their kids. And you got to ask yourself, why? Why are they doing it? Why are they putting their families and themselves in such jeopardy just to get to the United States? Is it because they like popsicles in the American way? No, it's because what they're running away from is even worse. But we don't care. We don't see them. They're not people. Well, I see them. And I feel bad. And every time I look at the news and I see the goons with their masks up and just barging and tackling and treating folks like they're not even, they would treat animals better. They would, if they were dog catchers, they would be more humane. And honestly, it's not because of any of the reasons that, people have been told from on top of the pulpit. It has nothing to do with crime. It has nothing to do with economics. It has everything to do with finding a common enemy who can't fight back, that you can tell all of your people to hate. Why do you hate them? Because they didn't happen to be born in the same country that you were? I got bad news for most of the folks out there in the United States. You weren't born there by choice. Your mom and dad just happened to be there when she squatted and dropped you onto the floor. You won the lottery. They didn't. You wouldn't last a second on their trip up through the desert, up through no man's land, facing the battles and the goons that they have to face. You would have faced less than a second if you had come from where they came from. These people have endured things that we can't even imagine. And the only thing we can think to do in this country is to make it worse. This is so much bigger than American politics. It's so much bigger than bullies and cults and left and right. It's about human decency. And that's why this one was so hard. Because, for the love of God, the world doesn't seem to have much of it anymore. And we need to find it. If you watch this far, you're one of two people. You're either a troll who's about to go down into the comments, or already has, and you're just going to flame me with your right-wing rhetoric. Have at it, because at the end of the day, I'll still be a kind person and you'll still be an asshole. The other type of person who would be watching this is somebody who agrees, who cares, who sees humans not what the rest of them are seeing. We got to do something. We got to stand up. We got to fight back. So I don't know what it's going to take, but damn it, I'm done. Thank you for supporting all that we do here in the Nomadistan of People's News, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.